the dragon immediately positioned itself to protect its injured owner, Lucas, ready to strike at any moment to keep everyone away from him. However, when it saw that it was Lucas's wife, Allison, approaching, the dragon still didn't lower its guard. It knew that Lucas and Allison weren't on good terms, and it worried she might try to harm him in this vulnerable state. But Allison used the method Lucas had taught her to control the dragon, commanding it to go outside and confront the enemies there. Once outside, the dragon realized that numerous mages and warriors had surrounded Lucas's home. To stop Lucas from falling into their hands, the dragon launched an attack on them right away. However, in the demon world, the dragon wasn't the most powerful being, so these enemies showed no fear despite its massive size. Then, Kevin gave the order to attack, and the mages and warriors joined forces to assault the dragon simultaneously. In an instant, the dragon was trapped by chains conjured by the mages, while arrows from archers rained down on its body. Unable to break free from the chains, the dragon had to endure the arrows with its own flesh. At that moment, Jack, Kevin's subordinate and a monster capable of taking human form, unleashed an even stronger attack on the dragon. Though not the strongest monster in the demon world, the dragon possessed scales considered the toughest magical substance in existence. This made it impossible for the enemies to take it down quickly. Just as Jack kept up his relentless attack on the dragon, Allison appeared, having just used her magic to stabilize Lucas's injuries. But since she didn't belong to the other Weaver's tribe, she had to avoid revealing her identity. She could only channel her magic into the dragon's body to help it break free from the chains. However, Kevin noticed the dragon's strange behavior and immediately began using his own magic to suppress it. However, within the other Weaver's tribe, Kevin was also a powerful mage, and the only one who could match him was Lucas. To maintain her disguise as a tribe member, Allison had sealed away 80% of her magical power, which made her no match for Kevin at all. In an instant, she suffered a magical backlash from his attack, and a layer of frost began to form on her face. If that frost covered her entire body, she would quickly be frozen solid. Left with no choice, Allison was forced to remove one layer of the magical seal she had placed on herself to counter Kevin's magic. She had originally cast 5 layers of these seals upon herself. However, each layer she removed increased the risk of her true identity being exposed. Furthermore, if anyone discovered Allison was from an outside tribe, even though Kevin and Lucas were sworn enemies, they would first join forces to deal with her before settling their own feud. Just as Allison was hesitating whether to remove another seal, Xavier from the other Weaver's tribe arrived and came to her aid. Although he didn't know Allison was an outsider, he was one of her few friends within the tribe. With the magical boost from Xavier, they finally gained the ability to hold their own against Kevin's magic. This bought the dragon the chance it needed to break free from its restraints. Now empowered by the combined magic of Allison and Xavier flowing within it, the dragon's attack potency increased several times over. It instantly used its magic to force all the enemies back. However, Allison's own magical energy was nearly depleted by this point, leaving her unable to support the wounded dragon in launching another attack. Thus, the confrontation ended in a stalemate, with both sides heavily battered. When Lucas finally regained consciousness, he looked gently at Allison, who was watching over him by his bedside. Even though Allison was his wife, he had never loved her. He was also aware that she had never loved him either and knew she had married him with some underlying purpose. But after this recent ordeal, something inside him regarding Allison had begun to change. However, he had no idea that Allison was once his greatest rival. 2 years ago, during the battle for divine favor held every decade among the tribes, Allison defeated all her opponents. But just as she was about to open the blessed chest bestowed by the divine, Lucas suddenly appeared and stopped her. Then, they engaged in the most intense battle for divine favor in a century. To Allison's surprise, Lucas possessed a powerful magic artifact that could transport people into a space under his control. In this space, Allison's combat abilities were suppressed. Ultimately, she was defeated by Lucas in the battle for divine favor, and the divine blessing fell upon the other Weaver's tribe. Although Allison had previously won divine favor for her tribe 6 times in a row, after this defeat, she not only lost her past glory but was also blamed by her tribespeople. Even her mother, Mary, decided to banish her from the tribe. When Allison was born, Mary had used forbidden magic to alter her appearance, making her look like a man to the outside world, thus granting her the identity of the tribe's prince. But after Allison's defeat in battle, Mary felt that a girl simply couldn't compare to a man. So, Mary lifted the forbidden magic, restoring Allison to her true female form, and cast her out to fend for herself. With nowhere to go, Allison deliberately approached Lucas and did everything she could to marry him. Her goal was to find Lucas's weakness and defeat him in the next battle for divine favor. However, after marrying Lucas, she discovered that he was once an ordinary person who couldn't practice magic. After being away for 30 years, he suddenly returned to the tribe with immense magical power and a mysterious magic artifact. One day, Allison secretly entered the mystical space within Lucas's magic artifact. When she dispelled the illusion set by Lucas, she found that he was enshrining a portrait of a woman. This woman was Olivia, a magical potion master who had once saved countless people across the demon continent, and was someone no tribe would hold hostility towards.